Bought our bus back in November 2018, so that's when we started our build. It took us about 10 months to complete, so we officially left September 2019 for full-time travel. And yeah, we've been pretty much traveling ever since. We've only gone home a select few times just to hang out with family.
I think the whole idea of just realizing that people lived out of their vehicles and they didn't just live out of a normal apartment or a normal home. And I know for me, breaking the norm and not being just like another person doing the same exact thing that everybody else did really appealed to me. Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Shelby.
And we're Aimless Travels. This is Charlotte, our 26-foot long 2002 Thomas built bus. It's got a 5.9 Cummins engine and an Allison 2000 trans. Why don't you come inside and you can take a look. One of the reasons that we built our bus was that we really wanted to go chase snowstorms across the West Coast. So with that in mind, we built a lot of things with keeping the cold and comfort in mind. So one of the first things that we did was we spray foamed the inside with 2 inches of spray foam. Then the next what we noticed is that there's a lot of issues with cold air seeping from the inside, especially from the leaky bus windows. So what we did is we built this fancy dual layer shade design. So the inside has a privacy shade that gets stayed up at the top with magnets, and then beneath that there's also another layer. It's a blackout shade. These stay up with a pig, and they have a layer of insulation inside of it. There's a Reflectix, Luan, and this greenhouse. So it creates a very good thermal bridge between the outside and inside. Over here we have a bookshelf for all of our gear when we walk in and walk out. We've got some sliders that we built in the front. We've got zones for the lighting on all different sides. So we have the kitchen area, we have a back side, we've got the left and the right, and they're all floodlights so that when we're getting somewhere where it's dark, we can see very easily. In the front we have shades. These go up and down for just keeping privacy as well as the heat loss. We got some big old pine cones we got from our travels. Everybody's got some of these, I'm sure you got some too. We've got over here, we've got 3 different cameras for when we're driving so we can see at all sides and keep safe. And then we also have lots of big storage bins up from the front. These are about 2 feet deep and we can fit all sorts of gear and goodie in there.
So how do we live with each other in such a small space? Yeah, so that's a really challenging one, and it's one that took us probably over 6 months to really adapt to. I think the biggest hint for anyone that's living with their significant other in such a tiny space is just to learn how to give each other space and not being up each other's butt, and just being able to just relax and take each day, day by day, and just kind of conquering challenges together. All right, so now we have the kitchen area, which is one of our favorite spots about the bus. I really wanted a marble countertop look, but did not want to spend the money on a marble countertop, and we didn't want the weight. So what we did was use an epoxy pour, and then we manipulated the designs with spray paint, silver, blues, blacks, whatever else we wanted, to get kind of this marble look, and it came out super cool. One suggestion, if you plan on doing epoxy, you might want to put more layers on epoxy on it. Ours scratches and it has gotten a little burnt from heat. Overall though, we've been on the bus a little over a year and it's been holding up great. These cabinets are built by David. They all have gas struts on them so they stay open. We store a bunch of spices, whatever else. These all have gas struts too that help the cabinets from opening during travel. We just picked this up from an old camper. The guy was getting rid of parts and everything, so that worked out great. Same with the hood. Highly recommend a hood or something over your stove because this gets so hot. So then on the bottom here, we have toe kicks here. So David built these underneath this cabinets to help with some extra storage. Some other interesting things, this sink, we have a double sink here. Might seem a bit excessive. I love it for the dishes. We got this at a Habitat for Humanity store for like 20 bucks, so that worked out great for price. Same with this, got this off of Amazon, just a farmhouse sink, a little excessive, but I like it. So for a fridge, we really wanted a lot of fridge space, so we had to get rid of the freezer idea. So this is actually a freezer that we converted into a fridge. It's a little bit more efficient on electricity and just cellar consumption.
Start to finish, it took us about 10 months. Over half of that I was working a full-time job still, and then I quit my job in May. of, was that 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah, May of 2019, and worked like 14, 16-hour days. I think the biggest challenge for me was just the sheer amount of research that needed to be done. Um, Before this, I knew a little bit about low voltage electronics, like, I'd done a couple like LEDs in a Pinewood Derby car, but that was about it. I taught myself everything about, putting the battery bank together, wiring the solar panels. I had a lot of experience in construction beforehand, but I would say just the researching, having a plan, and making sure that, the 101 things that need to come down to this one T at the end of the project are all there and you're not missing wires. I think that was probably the biggest thing, but at the same time, I enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm so glad that I can do that for, professionally now and help other people do it, because I enjoy it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and then for me, my biggest challenge, I didn't have any experience going into this project, so it was just a lot of learning, and then finishing like that last 20%. And we kept setting unrealistic budgets and unrealistic timelines and stuff, so that was really frustrating too. But definitely just that last 20%, it took a lot of just, I don't know, eyes set on the prize kind of thing, because it was a challenge.
So moving forward to the bedroom / dining area, we have a full-size bed that can be used as a sofa during the day and a full-size bed at night. We have lots of storage underneath for all of the clothes and gear. On this side, we have a dinette that comfortably sits two, but the chairs fold out to a double-sized chair so we can fit up to 6 people for games and dinner if we really wanted to. Underneath the seats, they have all sorts of storage for gear. And on this side, we have our pantry underneath this side. In this table design, we have a slide-out laptop pocket or whatever else you want to keep there.
Okay, so in our bedroom / back area, we have this curtain that pretty much just goes across just to separate the spaces a little bit. And then we have this closet back here, just some places to hang our clothes, shoes, whatever. These 2 drawers are mine, so I store a lot of my clothes here, as well as the underbed storage. David has some extra storage here, as well as over here. This bed pulls out to a full-size bed, which is super awesome just to have 2 separate bed spaces. And then we also have this TV back here, which can turn around on a mount, and then we can be in either space and be able to use the TV, so we can watch Netflix, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so we also have this. This is another Habitat for Humanity find. We just built it into the wall. It's a little medicine cabinet. It helps keep everything in. We have 2 pieces of Velcro there too. This is just a towel rack that's heated. That's another fun fact that David will describe to you guys. We have a radiant system going throughout the entire floor, and we just did a line that pretty much goes right through the towel rack. So
moving on back towards the bathroom, we have some lights in the bathroom. We've got a really nice shower door. We found these doors actually at Lowe's. We really like these doors because they don't have to have a shower curtain rod across the top or any sort of like sliding door hardware takes up the height, and we didn't want to be hitting our heads on that. So we found this nice little sliding door, and it's great because if we wanted to give somebody some privacy or take a shower, just happens like that, and it also goes right out of the way. And it also didn't cost a fortune too. So moving on into the bathroom, we also have 2 separate shower heads. We have one on the top, one for the bottom. Got a nice mixing valve, a little shower nook. We've got a vented deck for the floor. This allows us to basically make a very nice and clean wet-dry bathroom without having to just have a tile floor. So when you take a shower, the water just drains through and the top dries off much quicker because it's elevated off the floor. We have a airhead composting toilet, and we have a nice big old window right here. We've also got a bathroom vent all the way at the top for venting out that humidity or any nasty smells that are in there. We also got a nice privacy curtain that goes across. Other features in our bathroom, we also have heated floors in the bathroom. We have them all throughout the bus, but one big thing was that I wanted to make sure that when you're taking a shower, you're not freezing your feet off and everything like that. Then we also have a recirculating shower concept. This is something that I had thought of, that I had seen online, seen a couple people did it, found a couple patents, but I ended up engineering and developing my own system that has a 3-stage filtration system, and it also uses a loop off of the radiant heat to reheat the water. So it's a completely separate system than the shower, but basically once a system fills up with about 3 gallons of water, you can switch over to the other recirculating system, and it'll just keep on pumping and reheating the water until you're done taking a shower. So we have a very nice cedar ceiling. We got this from Habitat for Humanity. As you can see, a lot of things that we got in this in the bus were reused. This was for 2 purposes. 1, we like really reusing stuff, and 2, we were on a budget, so we had to save money where we could. So anything that we could possibly save a couple bucks here and there, we did it without a doubt. We chose a bus over a van just because of the nature of the vehicle. Buses are able to hold so much more weight, the platform's so much more sturdier, and also the price point too. We were on a pretty tight budget, so when we saw that we could do kind of almost anything we wanted to a vehicle, but also not have to pay, you know, 20 or 30,000 for just the base vehicle, that really appealed to us a lot. And let me tell you, we put everything that we wanted into it and didn't really have to think about, you know, how much is it going to weigh. With obvious, you know, taking into consideration that you can't just put, you know, a gym in the back or something like that. But most of the things that you want into a house, if you could imagine it, you could probably build it and put it onto a bus. And that's what made it for me like a home run. Moving on to the garage area. One of the things that I put as a challenge to myself was I wanted all the utilities to be as cleanly installed as possible. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean wire management. This just means that the spaces that are required, they need to make sense. So I put everything in the wall cavities. As you can see in the other parts of the tour, I put a heated towel rack in the wall cavity. But this one, I mounted all my batteries, my charge controllers, my utilities, my water filters, everything. Even the recirculating shower got put in a 2x4 wall. So on this side, you can see the first panel. We have a 24 volt Tesla battery pack. It's about 233 amp hours at 24 volts, or at 12 volts, it's 466 amp hours. It's been phenomenal for our use. Going back to the saving money side of things, we needed a certain amount of power, and that amount of power didn't really allow our budget to be very flexible. So one of the things that I decided to do was put a lot of solar and a lot of power, but build it myself to save a lot of the money. So I did a lot of research, did a lot of tinkering and stuff like that. So we have 1,400 watts of solar on the roof. We have a Tesla battery pack in here. We've got dual charge controllers, one for the left and one for the right. The left set of solar panels actually lifts up on a linear actuator. And we put that on its own charge controller so that when the left side was seeing more sun, or maybe less hypothetically, that the whole string of 4 panels wouldn't see a decrease in solar output. We've also got our manual shore transfer switch, so if we hook up to shore power, which is quite infrequent because most of the time we have plenty of sun. We have our 110 box over here. We got a lot of our low voltage electronics. We've got a 2200 4,000 watt sine wave inverter. We've also, for our Wi-Fi setup, we have a dual antenna setup. We have a set of omnidirectional antennas, which you use about 95% of the time. They pick up internet from, maybe up to 30 miles. And then we have a set of directional antennas that we can put up on an 8-foot mast. And those can be pointed in a certain direction. Those we can pick up internet for way over that distance. Really haven't had an issue ever of having to pick up internet when we're way out in the middle of nowhere. Typically, we aren't maybe 100 plus miles from a town, but even when we are way out in the middle of nowhere, we don't really have a problem. We can always watch Netflix and have a good time. On the other side, we have a tankless water heater built into the wall. The recirculating shower, like I said, is built into the wall. All that stuff basically leaves a lot of room for storage. As you can see, we have a bunch of buckets and bins. I have my own conversion company that, it takes a lot of tools, and you got to figure out where you're going to fit all those tools. So the garage, that's where it happens. We've also got a 5,000 BTU air conditioner. Actually, it's a 9,000 BTU air conditioner. It's a dual inverter. We run that all day long off of the solar, and it's been fantastic.
So what do we do for money on the road? I'm a professional job coach. Essentially what that does is I help write people's resumes. I help them get their foot in the door with interviews and just kind of coach them, help them become professionals. And I've been doing that for about 3 years. I get to control my own schedule. It's completely remote, so that's been working really well on the road. In addition to that, I write all the content for aimlesstravels.com. It's basically bus, van life, travel guides, everything you can think about. And then with David, his story is a little bit different if you want to get into that.
Pretty simple. I build rigs for full time. I love finding people who've got like really cool projects and building them the wildest rigs of their dreams. And you know, we did it with this one, and I already knew before we were done with it that I wanted to do another one. I just didn't know how or when. And then I realized that a lot of other people wanted this done too. And hey, match made in heaven. All right, so outside we have a nice outdoor table. We also have a grill with an external propane hookup. Underneath we have a little storage box that we use for all sorts of gear, you know, blocks to chalk up the wheels with and stuff like that. We also have outdoor lights just for the grilling station, and we also have outdoor floodlights for this side as well. In the propane area underneath we have 4 20-pound propane tanks, and we run 2 of them at a time with a dual tank changeover. This is handy for, you know, all of our cooking's done inside. You know, the radiant heats run on it, and the propane air heater, as well as the tankless water heater too. So we have to have a lot of propane on all times so that we don't need to fill up every, you know, couple weeks. All right, so moving on to the back, we have a ladder for accessing the roof deck. These are actually bathroom grab handles. We got these again in Habitat for Humanity. Got a whole box of them for a couple bucks, but they're super sturdy, and they were really easy to install and saved us a couple bucks. Over here we have a all-terrain tow bar by Falcon. This is how we tow our towed vehicle. We have a Jeep Grand Cherokee that we drive around. We absolutely love it. This thing's been amazing. It's I think we've done at least 10,000 miles on this thing with no issues whatsoever.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into our tour. If you want to follow us more on our ventures or see what we're up to, we're constantly changing stuff on the bus or building new rigs. Follow us on Instagram at Aimless Travels, or you could subscribe to our newsletter or just hang out on our website, www.aimlesstravels.com.
Really hope you liked the tour. Hope to see you guys around soon. Take care.